Hello. So today we are going to begin our first ever lesson. And this is about a dialogue. And I took this dialogue from the website eslfast.com/easy dialogue. I'll be putting the link down below so you can check it out. They have tons of dialogues that you can practice. Now, the title of our topic is I Live in Pasadena. And as we begin our topic, the first thing that we are going to do is to listen to the dialogue, and then afterwards we are going to read the dialogue together. All right, so let's begin.
Where do you live?
I live in Pasadena.
Where is Pasadena?
It's in California.
Is it in Northern California?
No, it's in Southern California.
Is Pasadena a big city?
It's pretty big.
How big is pretty big?
It has about 140,000 people.
How big is Los Angeles?
It has about 3 million people.
All right, so we have listened to the dialogue. Now let's going to read them one by one. And let's begin. Where do you live? I live in Pasadena. Where is Pasadena? It's in California. Is it in Northern California? No, it's in Southern California. Is Pasadena a big city? It's pretty big. How big is pretty big? It has about 140,000 people. How big is Los Angeles? It has about 3 million people. All right. So if we look at this dialogue, there are a couple of words that we need to emphasize. The first one is the word southern. Now, we don't pronounce that word as southern. We pronounce that word as southern. All right? And there is also number. 140,000 people. You can also remove "and" there. You can read it as 140,000 people. Okay. And there are two kinds of questions in it. Now, the question that starts with where, that's like the WH questions, like where, what, when, why, how. And we also have the yes or no, or we also call it close-ended questions. Now, when I read this kind of question that starts with where, for example, we don't raise our voice at the end. For example, where do you live? Unlike in this kind of question that starts with is, now at the end, we have to read it with a higher tone of voice. For example, is it in Northern California? Okay, so that's it. And then let's go to the next slide. Now, we are going to listen again to the dialogue, and this time you are going to list down what's missing. Prepare a pen and a piece of paper so you can put your answer. And you can also put your answers down below in the comments. And let's begin.
Where do you live?
I live in Pasadena.
Where is Pasadena?
It's in California.
Is it in Northern California?
No, it's in Southern California.
Is Pasadena a big city?
It's pretty big.
How big is pretty big?
It has about 140,000 people.
How big is Los Angeles?
It has about 3 million people.
Okay, so let's try to check whether you got the right answer or not. Okay, so take a look. Number one, where do you live? I live in Pasadena. Did you get it right? I hope so. Let's go to the next one. Where is Pasadena? It's in it's in California. Is it in Northern California? If you got it right, good job. Now let's go to the third one. Is Pasadena a big city? Did you get it right? I hope so. Now let's go to the second to the last. It has about 140,000 people. All right. So the last one, how big is Los Angeles? It has about, it has about 3 million people. Okay. I hope you got it all right. Now, let's go on to the next. In this part, you are going to answer these questions. You can try to answer it by speaking. Well, of course, I would not know whether your sentences are right or wrong. You can also try to write down your answers in the comments below. And let's see, if I have time, I can check them. But I can't promise that I can check all of them. Okay, question number one. Where do you live? Is it a big place? Is it a small place? Is it a quiet place to live in? Are there many people? Do you like the place where you live in? Great! Now, don't forget, if you have time, you can write down your sentences below and I'll check them when I have time. And for the last slide, this is about writing. Well, writing is one of the most difficult skills to learn in English, and I want you to try. Now, write down the place where you live in. Tell me a story. If it is difficult to write about it, now I can give you some tips. Since we just start writing essays such as this, the first thing that we have to do is, of course, plan. Oh, by the way, you can see there the link of where I got the essays or the dialogues. All right. So now, going back, you need to plan, right? What you're going to write. If you want to ask me, do you always have to plan what you write? Well, my answer is yes. Even the best writers, they need to plan. They need to list down. We call it, it's like a backbone of your essay. If you don't have it, maybe you might be lost along the way as you write your essay. So planning is the best way to write a very good essay. And now, since we only begin to write, we will try to do an easy planning for this question. Okay, so you can think of, for example, I want to write the good things and the bad things about the place where I live in. You can also just write about the good things. Or if you want the bad things about the place where you live in, well, it's up to you. So, for example, for now, let's try to do both. Okay, so when you plan, let's write the good things about the place where I live in. Now, for example, what are the good things that you want to write about the place where you live in? Maybe first, you can write about the nature, right? Why? Is there a river? Is there a beautiful lake? Are there many trees? So you try to write them. And if you can write as many things as you can, then that's very good. So you can write more sentences. And of course, you would not only talk about nature, right? So let's go on to number 2. What other things can you think of about your hometown or about the place where you live in? Right? So maybe there are many historical buildings. Maybe if you're not familiar with the word historical, then we can use old buildings. Right? And if, for example, you cannot write specific things or it's difficult for you to describe historical buildings around your area, you can just give an example, right? What historical building do you have nearby? And you can also write when it was built, how old it is. You can do that, right? And then this will be the first paragraph, right, of your essay. So I will write there, this is the first paragraph. Right? So let's go on to the next. You can write about the second paragraph. Now we can talk about the things that you don't like about the place. So probably we can say heavy traffic. Right? Like most cities experience it. Right? So of course there you could talk about the cars along the road when it's rush hour, right? Or maybe sometimes it can be a little dirty, especially at night when, people go to night markets. So probably the place where you live in has night markets, right? And then after making this plan, you can write sentences using these words. And you can form a simple essay. Alright, so that's it for today. And We'll make more videos in the future. Thank you for watching.